All right, hey, this is Ann Eller, and yes, it is Meet Me at the Diner, 4:07 in the afternoon, a historic day today, and later on after 5 o'clock, we're actually having an interview that I taped a little while ago with Congressman Jeff Duncan, so you want to hear what he had to say about health care, immigration, and contempt for Eric Holder. So we'll be talking about that after 5 o'clock during happy hour. That's an oxymoron, isn't there one there? But right now, I have a very special guest. She's originally from Greenwood, South Carolina. She lives in Germany. She sings in Switzerland. She loves the blues. She's very accomplished and very successful back here until July 25th. Who am I talking about? Toni Spearman. So, Toni Spearman, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. It's just that I haven't gotten enough sleep since I've been here, but other than that, it's just fine.
Well, it's certainly good to have you here. I hope you enjoy our comfortable studio here.
It is. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
But you've never been in a radio studio like this one.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, most of them, though, are very small rooms and not all this pretty stuff that we have here.
Yeah.
But we are right in the back of Sharp Facets Gallery here. Of course, I've not been over there in Europe, so I don't know. Maybe they have great studios over there.
Yeah, some of them are, but there are some of them that are very small also.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be back home again?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you've got a real interesting story, and of course you play here in Greenwood usually every time you come home. You do play some, and let's see, last year you played over there at the Abbeville Opera House.
Yes, I did a benefit show for Children's Home and for to help raise food for the food bank, together with Mr. Rick Dittman.
Mm-hmm.
From the train show, excuse me.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah.
And with Dave Byers.
David Byers, right?
Yeah.
And it turned out real well.
Yeah, it was great. We had lots of fun.
And that was at the Opera House, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The Abbeville Opera House, isn't it a great venue?
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're back here. You've got a lot of interviews, and you also are going to be playing at a blues festival in North Carolina.
Yes. On the 13th.
On the 13th?
Mm-hmm.
Where in North Carolina?
It's right near, say about an hour or something from Charlotte.
From Charlotte?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, well that sounds good. And then on the 14th you're going to be back here at Stokey's.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the Blues Cruise and Festival of Discovery, all the barbecue is coming up, so you'll be right in there in the mix of it.
Yeah. Try not to get barbecued.
Try not to get speared.
Really?
Now, you of course, in years past, you actually played with Gary Irwin and that group. Do you ever see Gary over in Europe?
Gary Irwin, I never played with.
Well, not played with him, but Shrimp City Slim. He's the one that usually books the Blues Cruise.
Yeah, but I've never been on stage with him.
Never been on stage, no. Well, you ever run into him over there in Europe? He goes quite often.
No, I think he comes to Poland a lot.
Yeah.
And usually when he comes to Europe, and I'll be someplace else.
Yeah. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. Now, when you were growing up, you said you grew up here in Greenwood, and then you got, I guess we could say, a wild hair to go to New York. What prompted that?
Well, it was, one of those things when you get out of high school, you think, okay, so what am I going to do now? I just want to, do something with my life. And I said, okay, I'm going to leave. Because I've always, my biggest dream, even as a child, was to be a blues singer, because I love to sing blues, or to be a cop.
Well, it sounds like you did both of those, because you went into the military.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, well, gosh, yeah. But when you went to, when you decided to go to New York, I mean, that was a big step, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was afraid, because I was still right out of high school. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, you jump into the cold water.
Now, your grandfather was instrumental in you being able to go.
Yeah, he told me, he said, if that's what you want to do, he said, I'll pay for your ticket, and then go out and see the world. Make something out of yourself.
That's right. And while you were there, you stayed, with your aunt and uncle up there? So you had you at least had a little bit of a base up there. You weren't thrown to the wolves totally.
Yeah, right. They always make sure they checked on me and made sure everything was okay.
Yeah. So, you also played the saxophone. Now that was a little different for that time. What made you want to play the saxophone?
It was kind of rebellious.
Rebellious against who?
You know, it was kind of rebellious against, you know, I guess my mother, because my mother wanted me to play piano, and I wanted to play saxophone. I said, well, I don't want to play piano because everybody plays piano. You know, all my friends in school, they play piano, so I want to do something different.
Yeah.
So I said, and I told my music teacher in high school at the time, Mr. Hardy, and I said, I'd like to play saxophone. And he said, okay.
So that money your mother was giving you for piano lessons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that used? That was used for the saxophone, huh?
Yes.
What did your mom say when she found out you were playing the saxophone? Just out of curiosity.
Girls don't play saxophone. Girls just don't do it that time.
Yeah.
Girls just don't play saxophone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing, when I got out of school, I had to run home and rehearse, you know, for my lesson for the next day.
Before Mom got home.
Right.
And where did you keep the saxophone? Did she know about it from the get-go, or did she find out after the fact?
Well, she found out after the fact, and you know, so it's nothing. She didn't write too much about it. She just told me that, you know, not to play while she was home or something, because maybe it was too loud. So I said, okay. So this is why I rushed home to rehearse before she got home.
Now, but how did you know about the blues as a child, or was it more gospel, or how did you know about the blues? The blues was something I thought that was kind of underground.
It was.
Well, okay then, Toni, how did you get to know about it as a young girl?
I used to listen to Ernest Reckenbaugh.
Okay.
From Nashville.
Okay.
And there was a place here in Greenwood, not far in Promised Land. And there was a place that they used to play blues all the time. I used to listen to the music there.
What are you telling us? You used to sneak out to get to go to this? I mean,
No, I didn't sneak out. Too dangerous. You know, too dangerous. At home, you know, when you're raised very strict,
right?
You have to go by the rules. You know?
Right.
So anyway, I got a transistor radio once for Christmas.
Okay.
And I would put a blanket over my head with a flashlight. And then I would listen to Ernest Reckenbaugh under the blanket and listen to blues. I heard to listen to people like B.B. King and Coco Taylor, you know, Howlin' Wolf, and these people, Muddy Waters.
Well, that's great stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, one day I'm going to sing blues also.
Did you ever sing at home with them? Did you sing along with them?
Well,
on the radio?
Under the blanket?
Yeah, under the blanket?
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was home alone, when my mom wasn't home, then I would sing.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But you went. So then you already had a focus what you like to do. When you went to New York City, did you visit some of the blues clubs? And
I was working, and this guy that I worked with, he asked me. He says, you know, he said, if you like blues, he said, there's this club that we play at called Highway Inn. And he says, if you'd like to, you can come with us. And he says, maybe try singing. He said, because we're looking for a singer for our band.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So I went, and then they asked me to sing with, so I started singing with them. And then I told him, I said, well, I just hope my mom doesn't find out, because I'd be in big trouble. And he said, just go for it.
Just go for it. Now, what were you doing when you were working in New York?
I was working for a family there.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, on the side, so the guy that, you know, the family that I was working for, he told me, he said, you know, you're too young and too intelligent to be working in someone else's kitchen.
Wow.
Or working in someone's home. He said, enter into night college, go to school, and learn something. He says, and then make something out of yourself. He said, you're too young to be, you know, hanging around doing this kind of work and stuff. So he took me to the college, and I entered into New York City College. And then I worked hard, and then I wanted to continue. So then I decided after I got, I guess, you know, after being there for a few years, then I went into the military. Yeah,
because you thought that well, number one would be a good way to help you pay for your education.
Right.
Exactly.
Which it did.
And it also gave you that opportunity to travel. Now, that was pretty good duty. Did you go to Germany first?
No, I was after finishing school and because I went to Alabama for school. And then they sent me to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. And I went to school there. And when I finished my school there, then I said, okay, there was another offer to go to Fort Gordon, Georgia, to go to military police school. So,
and you said to yourself, I wanted to be a policeman and a
not?
musician, so this came to pass.
Yeah, if I see if I pass the test, why not?
Yeah.
So I passed the test, and they put me on a plane going to Fort Gordon, Georgia. Because originally, I didn't want to go in the Army. I wanted to go to the Navy. I guess because my father was in the Navy. And the day that I went to the recruiting office to take the test, they were out to lunch.
You know, that's the story everybody tells.
It's
Everybody tells the same type of story.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And they were out to lunch, and so the guy from the recruiting office from the Army, he says, well, why are you waiting for them? He said, just let me show you what we offer. And so I said, okay. And so I looked at all the, the films that they show you and everything. And then he says, okay.
And they're very persuasive.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course. This kind of thing, like you go, wow, is this real?
Yeah.
And so he set up a test for me for the next day. And I went over the next day and I took the test. And I didn't hear anything, and I said, no, maybe I didn't pass the test. So he calls me, he says, okay, be here the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to, be sworn in to go to training school. I said, okay, so I did pass the day. He said, of course you did. And so he said, well, what was your plans, if you went into the military, what were you planning on doing, what kind of work? I said, well, I really want to go to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and work at the hospital there. He said, forget it.
Forget it?
Forget it. I was like, okay. Then I must have flunked the test. And he said, no. He said, they're not going to let you go to Fort Sam Houston. He said, I have other plans for you. So I said, okay. He said, first you go get your training, and then we'll tell you where you go. And I left there and went to Massachusetts.
So you just picked up everything and left the next day?
Yeah, well, after they sworn, after they got sworn.
Right, but I mean, yeah.
They took me straight from the...
No 6 months waiting.
No. They took me straight from the military base. Because he told me to bring everything with me that I needed. And I drove my car, so I had to leave my car there on the base. And so then they took me from the military base straight to the airport.
They weren't letting you go, Toni Spearman.
No,
they weren't. Hey, we're talking with Toni Spearman here. She's a blues singer extraordinaire. We're actually going to play a little bit of her music in just a little bit. But right now we're going to hear a word from our sponsors. If you have a question for Toni, give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984. Don't you go away. That's right. It is Meet Me at the Diner. Yes, I'm Ann Eller. Yes, I'm here with Toni Spearman. We're having an excellent conversation here today, and just talking about Toni's life, how she got her start, and it's a different world today how musicians get their start. But I kind of like the old-fashioned way, like Toni's telling us right here. But we just had a call from Linda McDaniel, a recent Piedmont Tech grad. Nice story, an all-American story. Wow, your message that you had to work hard, and goals is an inspiration. She's going in the Army in October. She's she must have graduated in a mechanic grad, so maybe she was in that part of Piedmont Tech. So how about that?
Good luck.
Good luck. That's a good word.
I think it's great.
Absolutely. So she's going in the Army in October. But now, Toni, so you went into to get with the story, you went into the Army. Mm-hmm. They had other plans for you. I guess military police, is that what they thought, or was that your thought?
Yes. Well, when they sent me to Massachusetts, it was a totally different thing.
What did they want you to go into?
So, then I went to Massachusetts and went to school.
Okay.
And then after I finished there,
then
I said, I'd like to go to military police school.
Yeah.
So I took the test.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I know, I was on a plane to Fort Gordon, Georgia. Yeah. And I went to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and went to the school in there.
Were there many women in doing military police then?
Yeah.
Yes. Quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few. Yeah.
Okay.
And I went to.
Well, that was back during.
Like 70s.
That was Vietnam Warrior. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
And then So when I went to Fort Gordon, got trained at Fort Gordon, then they wanted me to stay at Fort Gordon, to work there, and I said, no, I want to go, abroad. And then they give you this thing they call a dream sheet.
The dream sheet?
The dream sheet, yeah. And they tell you to write down all the places that you would like to go. Like I said, it's a dream sheet.
Right.
So I wrote France, different places. And then the last one I wrote Germany. And I don't know why, because I really had no connections to Germany at the time. The only thing I knew about, I knew a lot about the culture from Germany, from Bavaria, like where I lived in the Bavarian area, because of King Ludwig, because I would read a lot about him, it was good. And so I said, okay. So I got sent to Germany. That was my dream from the dream plan.
So you spent time in Germany, and while you were doing this, you did some music, didn't you?
Yeah, in my free time. There were guys in my company. They had a band, a blues and soul band, and there was a club downtown. And this was actually a club where the Temptations used to sing in when they were in the military, and Four Tops, and the Shy Lights. They all sang in this club there in Munich.
Yeah.
And they were all in the military at the time.
You think back about the greats like that.
Yeah.
That has to be, and I suppose you got to see them there. Did you get to see them? Yes.
No, they weren't there when I would go there. They weren't there. They were someplace else. I got a chance to meet them later.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet them later.
So, how did you get to? You got to sing there, though. You were asked to be part of the group, right?
Yeah, I would go there because they would ask me to go there, because they wanted someone to come and sing. So I would go there and sing and have a nice time, And then I had to be back on base to work Monday morning.
Well, so how did you? So now you became part of after you got out of the military, right? You decided you didn't want to stay in. They wanted to send you. Was it to Thailand?
Yeah. And when I said Thailand, I was like, okay, snakes.
Snakes.
Snakes I can have in Greenwood. And I said no, because they got big snakes in Thailand. No. So I said no.
And they didn't give you any other options? It was Thailand?
They wanted me to go to Thailand.
Okay.
And I said, okay, I've been to Japan. I had been to Korea. And then I said, okay, I'm just going to just get out. Retire. But they tried to get me to stay. So I stayed in the reserve until I retired.
Now, at your military experience during that time, how many years were you actually in the military?
Altogether with the reserve time, 20 years.
And how much of active duty?
Active duty, I had the whole time except for 2 years.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you what did you think of your military experience?
Great. There's a saying when they say the military make you or break you. That is a true saying.
So it made you.
Yeah.
It made you.
Yeah.
Well, that is too cool. Toni Spearman, I want to thank you for your service to our country. We certainly do appreciate it. And when we come back after hearing the news, we've got South Carolina news. We're going to be talking more with the incomparable Toni Spearman right here on WCRS. So don't you go away. Hey, if you've got another question or a comment, give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984. News is up. We'll be back. Don't you go away.
Arg! Are you a pirate or a pack rat? Do you have a vacation of a lifetime sitting in the attic? Or a college tuition hung on a wall? Or is a fabulous retirement hidden in your jewelry box? Bring those items to Sharp Facets Gallery. We can establish value and buy from you or sell for you. And so ends another chapter at Sharp Facets Gallery, 72 Bypass, and on the web, sharpfacets.com.
Oh, that's right. We are right back here with Toni Spearman. She's here till the end of July. That's right, pretty much the end of July. Living in Germany now, playing all across Europe, and we are hearing some fascinating stories, and I hope I can get them back on the air here, because Toni and I have just been having a good time talking about how she actually got her start in singing the blues on, what shall we say, really a more professional level. You actually had, your first band was called the Toni Spearman and the
Red-Eyed Blues Band.
Now, it's an interesting story how they got to be named the Red-Eyed Blues Band. Can you guess? Go ahead and tell us, Toni.
Yeah, we were having dinner after rehearsal. We were having dinner. And so we were sitting there talking, and then we were like, okay, we got to find a name for the band.
Mm-hmm.
So the bass player had said, well, naturally, we're going to use your name, Toni Spearman, you're the front person. And I said, okay. And then we said, now we need a name for the band. So they were sitting there drinking beer, and there was so much smoke in the place, you know. So I looked at them, and they had all red eyes. I said, all of you guys have red eyes. And the bass player said, that's it. Toni Spearman and the Red-Eyed Blues Band.
And that's how it started.
That's how it started.
You know, it is amazing because so many things happen that way, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something hits and boom, you're on the go with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you were playing, and then, you know, at one night you were playing Hot Chicago Blues and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, do you look back and ever pinch yourself and say, was that really real when you actually met Coco Taylor and all the guys at the festival and everything?
I would, you know, it's like, you know, just like I said, it's a thing where, you know, when you listen to them on the radio or you buy their album and stuff and you listen to it, and then all of a sudden you come face to face with them, and or you're standing on stage beside them, and you're not like, okay, this is not real, so one day I'm going to wake up and realize that it was all just a dream, you know, but then it's not, you know, it's real, you know, and then you get to meet all of these famous people, and like I said, then you got to, when I told them that I sang blues, and so Carrie Bell, the harmonica player from Muddy Waters.
But we need to back up. You went to a festival. You went to
the German American Blues
Festival.
Festival.
And you were sitting in the front row.
Front row, yeah, and the guys from, you know, they were on stage, Muddy Waters band was on stage playing. And Mr. Carrie Bell, the harmonica player, he came off the stage, came down on the floor, and he said, come on girl, let's dance. And I said, okay. So I got up and I danced with him, and then he told me to come backstage, you know, and talk with them, or go have dinner with them and talk. And that's what I did. So then he said to me, he says, and you can sing blues? I said, yeah. And he said, really? I said, yeah. And so he started playing something, and said, well, he said, let me hear something, let me hear you sing something. And so he played, you know, some riffs on the harmonica, and I just went down. Gypsy woman told my mother, he said, you can sing blues.
I bet that's a moment you'll never forget.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some of those things just stand out in your brain, don't they?
Yeah. And then they, you know, they asked me did I have agent or management or something. And I said, no, I don't right now. And so then he would say, okay, they would start asking me to come to play for the, you know, when they have festivals and stuff, I would open up for them. Mm-hmm. You know, because I was a greenhorn at the time, you know, the greenhorn.
Yeah, right.
You have to pay your dues to the music. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And so this is how I met, you know, Louisiana Red and Luther Allison and Jack Dupree, you know, the guy that wrote Caledonia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I met him. So they would always sit me down and talk to me, you know, and tell me, you know, you're a greenhorn, so this is what you have to be careful for. And
what did they tell you didn't want to tell anybody? That's pretty funny.
Luther Allison said, and don't tell anyone that you're from South Carolina. I said, why not? He said, because they will not accept you in the blues. And I found that to be true.
For real?
Yeah.
Why didn't they want somebody from South Carolina? I don't understand. Why not?
Because, you know, most of the time when people say they're from South Carolina and sing blues, then everything, okay, people from South Carolina can cook. They're great cooks. But most of the time they can't sing blues. So okay, so.
And one of the reasons you had a good in with this whole group of people, though, was because you were an American, and even though they were traveling, they liked.
They would always tell me, you know, it's always nice to run into someone that's from the States, you know. Because during the time the German American Blues Festival would go through whole Europe, and so they said, you know, it's always good to meet someone from home. And I said, yeah, it's great, you know.
Yeah,
what you guys
from the other side,
yeah.
Do you tell them you used to listen to all these guys on the transistor radio?
Yeah, the forbidden moment. You know.
You know, I think it's great when you're able to make something happen. You know, whatever it is, and you persist and you make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And surely we're going to talk a little bit more about you, how you made your life happen. But while you were in as a military police there in Germany, you were telling me about how you were the only black woman
that came to Bavaria as a military police.
Exactly.
So naturally, out there, you know, I had to go for newspaper interviews and pictures and stuff, and then
they probably asked and said, like they said to me, I'm from Maine originally. I came to North Carolina first, and people looked at me and said, I had a friend, and she'd say, this is my friend Ann, she's from Maine, say something, and people would swear to God, look at me, down, up, and then say something. Yes. I'll bet the same thing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they would tell you, when people in South Carolina talk, you can't understand them. And I said, well, you can understand me. He said, yeah, but how long did you live in New York?
Yeah.
I said, okay.
But you were very popular. You were very popular there, not only for the newspaper interviews, but working with the different
German police.
German police.
Because they asked my company command if I could come work at the 5th precinct. And so I worked there for 1 month, and the 6th precinct said, well, you had our money, we wanted to come work for us also. And so I would go from one to the other, you know.
You also got a big commendation for helping save a family.
Yeah, that was on Christmas, New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And so we was in the station, and we got this call that we had to go help the German police because it was a big fire. And matter of fact, where the fire was, it was like only maybe one street from where the military base was. And we went there and helped them. There was a family, Italian family, with 6 kids, a grandmother, and a pet for the kid. And so we helped them to get them out of the fire. And the kids, like a couple of them, they had to pronounce them dead.
Oh my gosh.
So it was really sad, you know. And so one of the kids, they said that he was gone, you know, forget it. So I was like, he doesn't look like he's dead, you know, because sometimes things like that look so deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
So then I said, okay, I'm just going to try
CPR.
Yeah. So I, you know, held his nose, and instead of breathing through his nose, I breathed through his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I breathed through his nose, and then all of the smoke started coming out of his mouth. And he woke up.
And he woke up.
Yeah. So,
you know, Toni Spearman, you have some phenomenal experiences when you look back over your life. Isn't it phenomenal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes I think it was just really believable. Did this all happen? You know, it happened.
It happened, and you've got commendations from the...
Yeah, I got from the military from Washington. I got a commendation medal, one of the highest medals from the military. The commendation medals, and then I got took into the Military Police Association.
That had to make your grandfather, you know, your grandfather's such a big supporter of yours. That had to make him
go see the world.
Yeah, he told you to go see the world. You know, when he found out about that, I mean, not only your parents, but I know your grandfather was very supportive in this. It had to make him proud.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did. My father was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Also.
So, Toni Spearman, right here from Greenwood, traveling the world with great stories. Hey, I'm Ann Eller right here with you today. When we come back, I guess we ought to hear a song, but we got so much good stories, it's hard to break away to the music, but we'll play a song when we come back. Don't you go away. Hey, if you've got a question, give us a call, 229-7984. That's 229-7984. All right, we're back here. Yes, having a good time, letting the good times roll right here at Sharp Facets Gallery. And, of course, that's one of the songs that Toni recorded. Now, of course, you told me that's a B.B. King song, and you kind of rearranged that.
To my own style.
To your own style.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, she's written other songs, though, the So-Called Friends, and what about that, Tearing Us Apart?
Was that's a song from Eric Clapton.
That's Eric Clapton, okay. I didn't recognize that one. And then, though, this song right here, though, you wrote this one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Can't get no lovin' over the telephone. Now, there are those that would disagree, Toni. But we're not going to be able to hear that one right now. But sometime I am going to play that one on the air for everybody. But we do have Let the Good Times Roll, that one. And I think with all the fun we're having here today, that's a good choice to play. So, Andy, would you cue that up and play that one for us? Is there anything specific you want to talk about? No, I mean, am I doing okay? Or
You're doing great.
Okay.
You're doing great, yeah. Enjoy talking with you.
Yeah. I do this every day, talk to people.
Yeah.
Quite a... You've got quite a voice.
Yeah?
Pipes, I guess we should
Yeah,
say.
that's what they
Pipes.
call it in Europe.
Yeah, pipes.
Pipes.
Yeah.
I had to sing up for a wedding. So, due to the fact that I wasn't Catholic, I had to go see the priest. Yeah, they're very strict. So, he had said he had to talk to me because, you know, I'm Baptist and so when I went to see him, he says, when I listened to your voice, he said, I thought you was about this tall, really tall and that bright. He said, but you're not. I said, no.
Yeah, where'd you get that voice from? Anybody else in your family like that?
Well, I come from kind of a singing family.
Yeah. No, I just wondered if anybody else had that.
Yeah.
The big voice.
Well, females, I don't know. I don't know if you know, females in my family have a big voice like that, but I come from a singing family.
Sounds great. Letting the good times roll. We're certainly having a good time right here with Toni Spearman. So nice of her to come by and sit down and talk with us. I tell you what, there is a lot going on, and she's just gotten here from Germany. We're going to be running out of time, I know, but we need to know how we got from military police, getting out of the military, to living in Germany. Now, there has to be a story there. And working for Volkswagen, right? Yeah. How did that story come together?
Okay, when I got out the military, I came back to Greenwood, and this German got in and worked on the base, and he said, well, if you get out, why don't you just stay in Germany? And I said, I don't have a job. And so he said, well, my brother works for Volkswagen, and I'll bring you, an application, fill it out, and then see what happens. And so I said, okay, but I'm still, going back to the States. So so he said, I tell you what, if they hire you, then you just buy me a big, expensive bottle of champagne. I said, okay, it's a deal. And so when I came back to Greenwood, I was here, I don't know, maybe, say a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, and I got a letter from Volkswagen saying, if you like it, we have a job for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that goes under that impossible dream, doesn't it? Yeah, to get back over there to Germany.
Like that unbelievable thing was happening.
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, okay, someone up there has something in store for me, if this keeps happening. And so then I said to my grandfather, I said, that's right.
I'm leaving again.
They sent me a plane ticket. I said to him, I'm going to go. So he said, well, you're going to need money to live off of. So I said, okay. And then he said, well, where are you going to be staying? And so I said, well, I don't know. I said, the apartment that I used to have with the military had for me. I said, I don't know if it's free. So I called the lady, that had the apartment. I asked her. She said, well, if you want the apartment, I'll make sure that you get it. And I went back. Volkswagen took care of everything. So I went back and started working with Volkswagen.
Now, what did you do for Volkswagen?
I worked import-export with German and English, even though my German wasn't that well at the time.
How's your German now?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
So, but how long did you actually work for Volkswagen?
I worked for Volkswagen about almost 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
And then what happened? What happened?
Well,
Why'd you leave?
I was always playing music, you know, on the weekends and on my spare time and stuff. And then it got to a point because my music kept getting more and more and more, so I had to make a choice: either go professional or just forget about the music and just do it as a hobby. And you know, I was scared, but I said, well, you can only see if it happens if you jump in the cold water.
You've done that several times, Toni Spearman. Jumped in the cold water.
Yeah, but I always had a chance to swim.
Yes, you did. You did. So now you live in Germany.
Yes.
Okay. You tour professionally all over Europe.
Yes.
Where's your favorite place to go in Europe?
Portugal.
Portugal?
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Wow.
That's my first choice, and Switzerland is the second.
Second choice. Yeah.
Because Switzerland has so many high mountains. It's very nice to paraglide off the mountains.
Do you go paragliding?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, see, she's keeping the tradition alive. She's still taking chances here. But, you know, it's interesting from the perspective of, you know, the economy and what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm sure from your perspective over there, have you seen effects being a musician, singer, for the economy over there as far as you're concerned?
You know, it's a thing like this, you know, when they're, say, we'll put it this way, like right now we'll say it's hard times, and it's not hard times because of the economy. And what I've learned in Europe, like when they're kind of hard times, people want to be more entertained, so they don't want to think about the everyday problems that they go through. So they'll say, okay, when I get off work, then I'll go hear live music, and that way I'll be away from this for a while until because when I go back to work tomorrow, that same problem is going to be there. But they like to, you know, be entertained and say, okay, so they don't have to think about the situation, you know, just what's happening right now.
You know, another thing I've heard about European audiences is they're much more quiet. They sit and pay attention to the music more than...
It depends.
Depends, okay.
It depends.
Oh, sounds like she's a rowdy one and gets them all rowdied up here. Maybe that's it. Tell us a little bit about that, Toni.
You know, it depends on what kind of music it is. You know, the European public is very, very good public. And, you know, they're not so... You know, the American public they're kind of laid back sometimes before they really get around it. But the European public, if they like you, they will cheer you to the end. But if they don't like you, it's like... You know, they just saying
you know right away that you're not hitting this audience. Is that what you're saying?
There you go.
Yeah.
And this is why before I go on stage, I always let my band play 2 songs so I can listen to the public.
And see reaction.
Then I know just how to catch them when I go on stage.
So you adjust based on how you think they're reacting to their music.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Well, I let the band play, and then I'll see how they react to it.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, so when I go on stage, I know just what song to sing to catch them.
Yeah.
And once you catch them and keep them there all night,
they're yours. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, we got to tell one more story as we're getting close to the top of the hour. You were telling me that you keep a diary, and you know you keep the funny stuff as well as the serious stuff, and you were telling me about wearing leather shoes onto the stage. I mean, this is a great story, and I can just visualize this one. Go ahead and tell us this one, Toni.
Okay, we played in this place called Deckendorf. It's not far, you know, it's going towards Czechoslovakia, but it's in German over the border. And so we played in this big place, I guess about the size of the community theater. And the band was jamming, and I was ready. And people were going crazy, you know, they were yelling, waiting. And I walked out on the stage, and I didn't realize, because the floor was, you know, hardwood floors, and what I didn't realize that they had waxed the floor. And I had on leather bottom shoes. I'm going out on stage and dancing, boogieing out on the stage, and slipped from the stage right into the public.
They thought it was part of the act.
And the public caught me. These guys that were standing in front of the stage, they caught me because they thought I was doing body smashing, and they were just screaming and yay, body smash. And I was like, okay, you guys are thinking I'm doing body smash, and I'm thinking I could have broke my behind up there. In the band when we played, and we did our show, the best, you know, we tried to do the best. And then when the curtains closed, the drummer said, "Did you get hurt?" I said, "No." They all laid on the floor and laughed. Like they were crazy.
You know, you're listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood. I am here with Toni Spearman. Toni, I got to ask you though, the next day, how did you feel?
Great.
You weren't sore or anything? You
No,
didn't? You weren't?
I didn't have time.
You didn't have
I
time?
had to be sore because I knew I had to do a show.
Well, you know what? It certainly has been a pleasure to have you here on the air with us this afternoon. We've had a great time talking with Toni Spearman. She is going to be at Stokey's on July 14th. She's got a lot of good stuff she's going to be doing, and I certainly hope you will catch her shows while she's here. If she's got anything else that comes up, I know you'll let us know, and I'll make sure to get it out there on the radio.
I would like to thank my record company, Michael Nussweather, because if it wasn't for him, you know, giving me a good contract and stuff and pushing me, then I wouldn't be here with this. And I'd be playing, but I don't know if I would have the songs I have on the radio all over, everywhere, America, Germany, Europe, everywhere.
Well, that's cool.
I'd like to thank him.
You know, it's nice to have reached the stage that you've reached and be able to still be out there having a good time and playing the blues.
Yeah, I think that was thanks to Michael Nussweather, you know, because he believed in me, and you know, he says, "You'll do it."
Well, we all need somebody to believe in us, don't we? Absolutely. Well, Toni, I certainly hope when you're back here in Greenwood again that you'll give us a call and we'll sit down and talk about other stuff, because I'm telling you what, this is a story that keeps on giving here.
That's what it is.
Thank you so much, Toni.
And we hope you come out to see our show on the 14th or on the 20th when we come to Howard.
Yeah.
And don't forget, life is a challenge.
Life is a challenge, and don't forget, you can't get no loving over the telephone. You have to do it in person.
That's right.
Thanks so much, Toni.
Thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed it.
All right. Bye-bye. Listen, we are going to finish up with Fox News. Then I think it's... we got another little segment coming up, Living the Carolinas. What do we got coming up? Anyways, I'll be back for Happy Hour, and we will be hearing what Jeff Duncan had to say about the decisions that came out of the Supreme Court today. So don't you go away.